week, possibly 4 weeks ago, I heard an advertisement on your radio station from a company called Grid Solar. I would love to have that phone number so I can reach out to them with reference to solar panels being installed on my property.
Our listeners are aware and engaged, but more than that, they are loyal. When they hear empowering messages that uplift their community and help them live better lives, they respond. No medium reaches this coveted black audience like KBLA Talk 1580. So, hit us up today at smb@kbla1580.com and let us help you connect with our loyal listeners. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black under the bud.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say, what's one thing I'm doing wrong, that I know I'm doing wrong, that I could fix, that I would fix? You meditate on that, you'll get an answer. And it won't be one you want, but it'll be the necessary one. When you're trapped, some of it's your own inadequacy. What you can do to begin with is every bloody thing you possibly can do to put yourself in the most virtuous and powerful negotiating position possible. Wherever I go in the world, people come up to me and they often have a pretty rough story to relate. It's an awful thing because you see, even in the revelation of their triumph, the initial depth of their despair. So I wouldn't change that, but it's not nothing. And it's certainly not just happiness. It's better than happiness, but it's almost unbearable.
Man, come on, Dr. Peterson, start crying and whatnot. But he brings up a really good point. Gosh. Tonight's topic, man, we had to end the week with a slapper. And this one came from Ronan, right? Last night. You know, Ronan out of Indianapolis. He calls in pretty regularly, and he is a joy to listen to. His wordplay is immaculate. It's incredible, stupendous. And He said something in one of his quick-witted diatribes, insightful diatribes, where he said, sometimes you got to treat yourself to the truth. And I began to ruminate on that, and I thought about it. I was like, just one of those contradictions that we go through. We will demand the truth of others, right? But we treat ourselves to the truth. What do you mean, treat yourself? You know how a person is working out and they're getting real serious about working out, and then they're getting real serious about what they're eating and what they're putting in their body, and then they have cheat days. I've been going real hard for the last 8 weeks. Today is my cheat day. So I'm going to eat a honey bun. Well, I think this contradictory piece is really big here because we demand the truth from other people, right? And we believe we know the truth about other people. But when it comes to dealing with the truth of ourselves, right? We need cheat days. We're not consistent. We don't consistently live in the truth of ourselves. And if you're not living in the truth of yourself, would that make you a liar to yourself? The great Carl Jung said it best. People will do anything, no matter how absurd it is, to avoid facing the truth of themselves, right? To avoid looking at their shadow. But yet we got I'm a good judge of character. Really? Do you see? We have cheat days when it comes to looking at ourselves truthfully, to examining ourselves, to going deep, right? We'll spend weeks and months and years without looking at ourselves. And during that time, we know everything there is to know about the person. We can read the person. We could tell the person about themselves. We can even declare, I'm speaking the truth. Wait a minute. How are you speaking the truth about me? That's one thing at least psychologists will tell you. I can't tell you what's in your mind. I can't tell you what your spirit is about. I can't see into your mind. I don't understand your experience directly. This is why the psychologists will whittle it down to behaviors and mindset. And they're looking at patterns. This is your mental pattern. That's what they're looking at. But they can't see inside your head. They can't see what's going on inside of you. But yet all of us can. And not to the degree of a psychologist. But we seem to think that we know this person better than they know themselves. Self-truth as a treat. Do you know how we get to that treat? And I'm going to tell you why it's a treat. Because it's usually good. But not in the sense of, watch this, it's good for us. Right? We usually think treats are sweet. But self-truth as a treat is really, I learned this about myself, and now I'm better for having learned it. May not have felt good, right? You should treat yourself more often to some self-truth, right? Because the truth you are saying about another, at best, could be a mere projection, and at worst, oh my God, right? At best, it's a perspective, right? Let's just do that. I ain't gonna go bad on y'all. I want to know what you think. Which is easier to tell? Your truth as you see it about others, or the truth as you see yourself? the truth within yourself? Can you tell yourself? Can you read yourself and break yourself down the way you break others down? Is it easier to break others down than it is to break yourself down? I just want to know, because I see people reading people, telling them off. But do you tell yourself off? Is accountability a guilty pleasure? Could our inability to accept the truth about ourselves be the reason we feel guilty seeking pleasure? That's ugly. What roles does self-sabotage and limiting beliefs play in embracing objective intrapersonal truths, not interpersonal? This is how you show up in the relationship, and I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. No. Intrapersonal truths. Yee. What role, I got to read it again, does self-sabotage and limiting beliefs play in embracing objective intrapersonal truths? Do we weaponize our perspectives of others as a means of avoiding our own imperfections? Andy, that's an ugly question. You know what? I'm going to tell you about yourself so I can avoid looking at me and telling me about myself. Isn't it all too common? Doesn't it? Man, you perfect? Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know I was dealing with perfection. What are the key differences between speaking your truth about others' perspective and speaking intrapersonal truths about yourself? Is it harder to tell yourself off? Is it harder to cuss yourself? I'm not talking about negative self-talk. That's not speaking truth, right? That's destroying yourself from the inside out. Can you be an objective listener when your higher self is reprimanding your lower self? When your higher self is calling your lower self to the floor? Or do you deflect by projecting your self-disappointment onto others? 1-800-920-1580. True or false? The ability to fool ourselves, disguise our intentions, and recontextualize our motives gains power and momentum as our desire for truth becomes overshadowed with our mask integration. I can't tell myself the truth because I've put all my resources into maintaining the mask I wear. The tighter we hold on to the facade, the farther we are from confronting the truth about ourselves. How can the teachings of Eckhart Tolle on the concepts of the pain body shed light on our resistance to facing our intrapersonal truths about our shadow? In what ways does the mirror work of Krishnamurti challenge us to confront our own projections onto others and take responsibility for our own truths? I know you guys don't like these questions. I know you don't, because it's easy to tell somebody off. It's easy to tell somebody about themselves. But when was the last time you told yourself about yourself and you sat there and you took it like a good student? Goodness. How does the shadow work of Carl Jung and the concept of the shadow self inform our understanding of why it's easier to speak our truth about others than it is to confront our own inadequacies? When are you going to treat yourself to the truth? Your truth, intrapersonally. When you going to treat yourself to the truth? Self-truth as a treat. You've been on that BS long enough. When you gonna treat yourself to the truth of you? Huh? Truth is medicine, right? And when you don't, I hate listening to folk who swear they got a bead on somebody else. Right? They won't reveal nothing about themselves. They won't declare the truth about themselves. They won't have an intimate, empathetic, honest moment about themselves that shows their accountability, that shows their flaws. That's how you know you're dealing with a charlatan. Do you understand? A person who cannot disclose the truth of who they are spiritually immature. That's in relationship, that's in public, that's anywhere. That's in the church. If you got a pastor in the pulpit that's teaching integrity and morality, and he can't use his own failure as an example of how he said, you know what, I took my failure and built a moral ladder out of it, and I began to climb out of the hole that I was in. If he can't do that, he's just speaking words. It's easy to talk about somebody else. It's easy to evaluate somebody else. It's easy to denigrate and demean somebody else. But where is your example, right, of your low moments, of where you've fallen and rebuilt yourself and uplifted yourself? Because that's more inspiring and motivating than you trying to look like a winner all the time. You trying to look like a success all the time. Sometimes we got to see that you're like us. Ooh, when I come forward, we're going to talk more. When are you going to treat yourself to the truth?
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. Tavis is like George and Wheezy. He's moving on up. Last year, Tavis was number 45 on the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. Wait for it. The 2024 list was recently released, and Tavis has jumped to number 33 on the list of the nation's most important talkers, making him the highest-ranked African-American on the coveted roster. Congratulations to Tavis Smiley from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got you black.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
A lot of self-sabotage, key for everyone, isn't you screwing yourself over, it's you getting yourself what you want, but you aren't always aware of the part of you that wanted it. And a lot of self-sabotage is keeping yourself congruent to your comfort zone, congruent to your core identity, congruent to your core beliefs. And comfort doesn't mean pleasant. It simply means known. A lot of the comfort zones, we tend to think, oh, comfortable, like cozy on a couch. No, a lot of people's comfort zones are hell. It's misery, it's depression, it's shit. But it's known.
Yeah! Get used to being uncomfortable. Tell the truth about yourself. Your low self-esteem. Your addiction to acknowledgement. Right? To validation. Right? Right? If you can't be honest about that, why should we trust anything you've ever said? And if it feels like I'm talking to you, I am. Yes! How does the concept of spiritual bypassing, as discussed by psychologist John Wellwood, hinder our ability to confront our intrapersonal truths and do the necessary inner work? Yeah. We can, it's all right and everything gonna be okay, and in God's time, we can do that. We can do that all day long. But you're on campus Earth, enrolled in the University of Relationships, and your curriculum is provided to you through your relationships. And somehow, many people who are a total mess internally can condescend towards others, can judge others through their perception of them. Don't you know your perception is an interpretation of me? It's not actually me, right? Think about it. Your brain is the master interpreter. Your brain is like the King James version of reality. What is your brain doing? Interpreting, right? Your eyeballs take in the light and turn it into electricity. Through the lens, back to the optic nerve, it's turned into electrical symbols in which your brain translates. Oh, really? So yeah, you see your person and they're in your life and you seeing them as separate than you. Sure, fine. You don't understand the metaphysics of relationship, spirituality. You attracted a mirror image of you that is there to reflect something back to you that is probably located somewhere within your blind spot. Your spiritual blind spot, meaning you can't see it in you yet. So you throw back projections and interpretations of them. What insights can be gained from the relationship dynamics, right, and the work of John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth in understanding how our early attachment patterns may influence our ability or inability to face our intrapersonal truths in adulthood? How does the concept of enlightened self-interest as espoused by Ayn Rand impact our willingness to confront our intrapersonal truths and prioritize our personal growth and development? Boy, I'm so tired of people begging. How you gonna beg a mirror reflection of you to give you something you have forgotten how to give yourself? Maybe you forgot. Maybe you never learned. Maybe you never cared to learn. Maybe you never cared to look. Huh? Everything you demand of your partner, you can cultivate within your own spirit. What are the potential risks and benefits of using psychedelics or plant medicines in the process of uncovering and integrating our intrapersonal truths? This is why people out here ayahuasca-ing. They got the frog out there licking the toad, trying to get into some interdimensional understanding. Listen, that mirror image in your relationship is the inverse of you. When I come forward, we're going to talk to some folk. Let's get it. To be a reason, and we know the reason why you try to put on those airs and act real cool, but you got to realize that you're acting like those. Deepak's music, we can use it, we need to dance. We don't have that time for psychological romance. No romance, no romance, no romance for me. Mama, come on, baby.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Oprah Winfrey made a surprise appearance at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago Wednesday night. Winfrey said when Democrats stand together, it's impossible to be conquered. Without mentioning Donald Trump by name, she implored the crowd to stand up to bullies. Winfrey has a long history of supporting Democratic candidates. The fallout from the arrest of Ward 8 Councilmember Treyon White continues to ripple through the D.C. government. The mayor's office announced that it will conduct an internal review of the violence interruption programs included in White's indictment. White, who is black, was arrested on Sunday by federal investigators and charged with accepting bribes in exchange for helping a business owner renew his city contracts. The mayor's office also promised to cooperate with investigations into White's conduct as a city council member. White's office also announced that a Saturday back-to-school event sponsored by the councilman has been canceled. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here's what happens when you advertise on KBLA Talk 1580.
3, possibly 4 weeks ago, I heard an advertisement on your radio station from a company called Grid Solar. I would love to have that phone number so I can reach out to them with reference to solar panels being installed on my property.
Our listeners are aware and engaged, but more than that, they are loyal. When they hear empowering messages that uplift their community and help them live better lives, they respond. No medium reaches this coveted black audience like KBLA Talk 1580. So, hit us up today at smb@kbla1580.com and let us help you connect with our loyal listeners. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black under the bud. Helping to broaden your political and moral imagination with our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take Auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8% must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes. Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Point!
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace!
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's a very kinky girl. She says that I'm her all-time favorite. When I make my move to her room, it's the right time. She's never hard to please. Oh, no. That girl is pretty wild now. Girls are super freak. The kind of girl you read about. In magazines. That girl is pretty kinky. Girls are super freak. I really love to taste her. Every time we meet. She's alright. She's alright. That girl's alright with me. Yeah.
Often we're looking for the worst in our partner, and we do that because we are looking to create emotional distance. It can feel really threatening and challenging to feel really close and in love. Everybody thinks they want that, but the reality is most people have some fear about love, and it starts to challenge them in different ways. So I think a lot of our pickiness, our criticalness towards our partner is often not motivated by being honest or direct, which would be fine. But it's really more about creating emotional distance, saying little things that are going to hurt, thinking we have to set them straight, and all these things that then just lead them to feel on the defensive and pull away from us and maybe lash out at us. And then you've got that emotional distance, which might feel negative and painful, but it feels more comfortable.
My God. Treat yourself to the truth of you. It's a treat now because you don't eat it all the time. You don't have the truth about yourself all the time. Most of us are avoiding the truth of ourselves. Is accountability a guilty pleasure? Could our inability to accept the truth about ourselves be the reason we feel guilty seeking pleasure? Oh. How does the concept of shadow in Jungian psychology influence our relationship with accountability and guilt? Can the pursuit of pleasure without self-awareness lead to a cycle of self-sabotage and avoidance as suggested by the great Krishnamurti and his teachings on self-deception? Are all of us Delulu? Yeah, that's the new word. Oh, you Delulu. Well, if you haven't embraced the absolute truth of you, intrapersonally, i.e. internally, you cannot speak on somebody else's intrapersonal truth by defining them through your projection. Because if your sight of another person is obscured by what you haven't healed, do you know you're looking at an interpretation of them? And a poor interpretation, a poor translation. And I'm sure something's lost in the translation when wounds are doing the interpreting. When was the last time you had a self-devotional? Yeah, devotion with you. Not self-care, but self-devotion. I'm going to sit with me and look at me internally without judgment. I'm going to belay the evaluative process of myself. I'm going to shut up the adult judge and the parental judge, and I'm going to sit with the wounded inner child, and I'm going to nurture the wounded inner child. With no desire to make the wounded inner child better, I'm nurturing the wounded inner child as it is, just for the sake of doing it. Not to say you got to get better. No. Just sit with it in love. When was the last time you did that? And if you haven't done that, how can you tell me about myself? How can you tell others about yourself or about themselves? Because we quick to call somebody a hypocrite, right? Ooh. How do different spiritual traditions such as the teachings of Buddha and Jesus Christ, frame the relationship between self-truth and guilt. I got questions, as you can see. I want y'all to understand the concept behind this topic, because it was created last night when the brother Ronan called in. And we said, hey, somebody said, Zoe, why you hitting me like this tonight? Because I gotta. Ain't nobody else going to talk about it. Everybody going to talk about what you supposed to show up as in a relationship. Listen, you can put on the flyest tailored suit. And I mean, I got a cousin. He does tailored suits. His name is Kenneth Boggs. Go to kennethboggs.com. Free shout out to my cousin. He does all of the suits for NFL guys and all these guys, right? Man, let me tell you something. He'd take like 65, 70 measurements. That suit fit like skin. It'd be like, ha, ho, fit your elbows, your clavicle, everything just be tight, you know? And I don't mean tight, I mean it fits you, right? You can have the flyest suit in the world, but if you don't take a bath, right? If you don't get the musk off your spirit, huh? See, it's a lot of people whose mask makes them look untouchable. That mask is immaculate. That mask is gorgeous. I'm here to tell you, you won't need a safe space when you clean up the inner space. Oh, I know people are not, I know y'all not with me tonight. I know you're not with me tonight, but I'm here to do it. 1-800-920-1580. Let me get a caller in here to talk on it. Attila from Houston, Texas. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Uncle Zoe, man.
Yo, what up?
Those questions, man. When you hit me with it earlier today, as you can tell, I was a little tired. And I was like, huh? But then I think it started to make sense. But I am guilty of everything that you've talked about thus far. And all in 1 week. That was crazy. But let me just, yeah. And it's funny because I think that if you have a certain cadence, certain way of speaking, certain way of expressing ideas and intellect, people don't understand the heaviness that I think comes with that. And one of those things is to be overly critical of yourself and of other people. And I think even further, you can lean into idealization. But I ain't necessarily called to get into all of that, but it definitely made me think of this. And I think because I can't lie about it. So when we're talking about our authentic traits, I think those are more than likely the ones that we've developed, right? Whether that's in childhood, whether that's in, our relational experiences. But then there are the traits that are ascribed to you, whether that's you ascribing them to yourself or someone putting them on you. And I don't think we always know the difference. That's one of the reasons why I cringe when people are like, I'm a good person. I'm like, okay. I mean, perhaps it's because we focus so much on doing instead of being that when you do start to recognize the difference between the two, you do cringe because you at some point know when your mask is on and when it's not. And maybe that's just something we have to be a little bit more honest about. The other side of this is that I think that we tend to philosophize and theorize about our partners and about what they may be thinking or doing or their reasoning while we're simultaneously catastrophizing the relationship.
Say more. Go deeper.
Meaning, I'm already in a space of essentially predicting the end of this connection or, business relationship, whatever the case. You're not always aware that you're doing this, but this will come through in your actions. You are predicting the obsolescence, right? And so in order to do that, I think that the fuel to that mechanism is to theorize and philosophize your partner's motives, but you're not even aware of your own.
So in effect, enacting a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And so here's a good example is the typical one. You know, one partner is accusing the other partner of cheating or whatever. Let me go through your phone. Let me such. Let me do this. Let me do that. And what's interesting about that is the person who is asking to look through the phone is convinced. They are convinced. It could be something that you've said, did, the way you smelled when you came in. Who knows? They have already pre-planned that the obsolescence of that connection is coming. But again, like I said, I think it's something that people do internally. They're not always aware of it. And so, you know, then those actions come forward that essentially show what it is that they are planning. And so if you're not hip to the game, so to speak, you just think that they're nuts. But I think what it really is...
Stay with me, Attila. Stay with me, because you're cooking right now. And just stay with me. When we come forward, we going back to Houston, Texas. She on fire.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out.
Going down in the rinse straight.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash and smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes 100% of odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's like candy. I can feel it when you walk. Even when you talk, it takes over me. You're so dandy. I wanna know, can you
You have to constantly rewrite your book every day of your life. You know, and these aren't just words I say. This is how I have to live. Like, these are conversations I have with myself. And I say it everywhere I go. The most important conversation when you have with yourself.
Yes.
You live with it every single day. But most of our conversations are not the right ones. They're not the ones that are going to push us to the place we need to go. They're the ones that are going to keep us sitting in that toxic environment that you've helped create and everybody else helped create, and you just live in it. You live in that muck, and that conversation just plays in your head, and that becomes you.
Decode some of that conversation that you started with yourself. Like, how does someone listening start that conversation with themselves, and what are the general transitions that you need to start seeing?
So my first conversation when I was absolutely nobody, and that's one thing you have to say. We live in a world now that's so kind. We find the kind way around everything. Like, if you don't look good, I have to find a kind way of saying, I don't like your shirt.
Right.
That's not the approach. If that's the approach you're looking for, that book is not for you. Can't Hurt Me is not for you. The approach you have to take, at least I took, you take whatever approach you want. The conversation had to be a real, honest conversation in the accountability mirror of, guess what? I was fat. Don't find a kind word to say that, you know what? I've gained some weight. No, you're fat. When I couldn't read, not like, hey, you know, you have a learning disability. No, I cannot read. I have a 4th grade reading level. I'm struggling. And sometimes I call myself stupid. Not in a way to put myself down. So don't take it like, my God, those are so hurtful. Yeah, they're hurtful. This honest. The conversation has to become an honest conversation of where you're at mentally. Where am I at mentally? I look like shit. I feel like shit. I'm falling behind in school. I'm lazy. My house is a mess. You have to look at what it is and call it what it is. Don't find words to make yourself feel better, because that's what, so we hang around people that make.
David Goggins. That's the military guy, right? The Navy SEAL. My goodness. He wasn't playing with us tonight, I guess. But he brought up some great points. Here's the thing. I know it's very difficult for people to just sit in the truth of themselves, right? They just sit in it, right? Normally very uncomfortable, right? So we try to get away from things that are uncomfortable. This is why I say the most empowering thing most people do in relationships is break up, right? There's no empowerment in forgiveness. Ooh, I know that hurts. To hear that hurts. But for a lot of people, love is a risk, right? There's no empowerment in forgiveness because they already see forgiveness as a loss. If I forgive you, I let you win. Do you see what I'm saying? So now, put all of that internally, right? Sometimes, because of these intellectualizations that Attila pointed out, sometimes it's hard for us to even know that we need to forgive ourselves, because we've justified it and made it make sense to us to not only neglect ourselves, right, but not to forgive ourselves when we're hard on ourselves. This is heavy stuff. And if you got all of this stuff in your spirit, what do you think its impact will be on your relationships? Whew, all right. Attila, get back in here. Come on.
Uncle Zoe. Okay, so this is going to be my last thing. I love what you just said about breaking up being the most powerful thing that we do, or at least we perceive it to be that way. I think the reason why we avoid forgiveness is because we're avoiding surrender. You can't forgive and have a closed fist, but you also can't receive, right? So your perspective on power would need to be shifted in order for that to happen. And so I think if you're in a space of low self-esteem, so lack of boundaries, fear of failure, negative self-talk, being sensitive to criticism, the whole nine, if that's where you're at, if you have a low self-concept, meaning a poor opinion of yourself, your abilities, and your character, you have to actually take the assessment, take stock of not only what your physical reality looks like, but your spiritual reality. And I think that's just something that we refuse to do, because at the end of the day, I think it's very painful to say that even with all the things that I have nothing.
Woo! Hey, wait a minute. The list you just ran off, right? That list of, like, criticizing oneself and breaking oneself down. The flip of that, or the inverse of that list, is the narcissist who aggrandizes everything about themselves. See, nobody understands. You got to sit in it without a sense. This might be hard to wrap. You have to sit in it without a sense of the me. Right? The ego. You got to sit in it and say, if my spirit is a container, this is what's in it. And I'm not going to judge what's in it, but this is what's in it. Right?
Absolutely. That no judgment part, I was just talking to you about this earlier.
Yeah.
That is hard. I mean, because for me, I grew up in a household where your judgment was your currency. So, I mean, I don't, not being able to judge, clarify, and ask questions feels broke to me, to be quite honest.
To not be able to judge, clarify. Clarify is different than judging, right? To clarify is to gain understanding. What does it mean? What are we doing? Like, but to
investigate.
But sometimes the context in which we're using judge is to condemn, which is what judges do. You can evaluate without condemnation. You can clarify without criticism, right? You can investigate, right, without tearing somebody down, demeaning and denigrating somebody. All of this can be done, and you can look at it from a space of, let's investigate, let's inquire. But if you're doing it with ego, there's going to be competition, there's going to be condescension, there's going to be a lot of problems that comes with ego. Stay with me. Don't go nowhere. She's too much on fire. I can't let her go. When we come forward, more from Houston, Texas.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Oprah Winfrey made a surprise appearance at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago Wednesday night. Winfrey said when Democrats stand together, it's impossible to be conquered. Without mentioning Donald Trump by name, she implored the crowd to stand up to bullies. Winfrey has a long history of supporting Democratic candidates. The fall